just want to give everybody that fair warning. So welcome back to the Friday Lifecycle Insights weekly workshop, where we haven't updated the slide with the date on it since the 1st of April. But I just did that before I shared it. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and share today's quick talking points. We got a few more best practices and things you probably ought to know, but might not know about the platform that we're going to go over today. And then we'll just open it up to some Q&A and see what you guys have questions about and how we can help. So let's get all my screens organized, and we're going to share this guy over here. All right, so housekeeping items pretty light. If you're not already in the Facebook group and you're a Facebooker, you can always join us there, which is all right. Facebookers sounds too much like boogers. Can meet us there. We do spend not nearly enough time on Facebook because it's gross as a platform, but lots of you guys are out there, so we come hang out with you every now and again. If you're looking to catch up to us because you're brand new to the platform, new to Lifecycle Insights every single Wednesday, you should have gotten an email invite for that. If you haven't gotten it, either check your email or send an email out to info@Lifecycle Insights, and we will get you there. Policy workshop. If you haven't heard, we're doing a how to write policy for your customers workshop, and we have some great educators coming to teach us, because that is not my forte at all. We have Brian Blakely from Cosent Cybersecurity, who is fantastic on this topic, as well as Matt Lee, who not only has an amazing beard, but also knows a little something about policy. If you haven't heard Matt and Brian talk, I mean, both of them are just as entertaining as the day is long. And the policy workshop is worth the $49 just to show up and listen to the two of them talk. But it is $49, and we are donating all the proceeds to charity to benefit families that were displaced in Ukraine. So good cause and some great education. Where are we going to be? May 9th through 12th. Evolve in Dallas. May 17th through 19th, the 7-figure event in Dallas. Marnie's going to be doing both of those. I've got some personal stuff coming up, and I'm not going to be traveling for just a little bit, but so Marnie will be at both of those. If you make it to either of those events, make sure and stop and harass her. The rule is she's not here to say no, so she has to buy you at least as many beers as I would have if I was there with the company card. That is a rule. You heard it here. It's recorded, and that's a thing. So make sure that you catch up to Marnie if you get out there. Was anybody at Robin Robbins? Did you guys do that? Did you guys do Robin Robbins? No, apparently that one was insanity, like just crazy busy, and lots of cool fun stuff. In fact, one of my webinars got canceled this week because the guys from Gradient, half of their team came back with COVID. So fun. Here's the policy workshop stuff. If you're interested in signing up for that policy workshop, you can do so right here. Again, $49, all proceeds go to charity. The entire conversation is around making sure that we're giving our clients something better than a copy and paste of a SANS.org or similar policy, and that their policy actually reflects what they do in their business. So feel free to check that out. That will absolutely sell out and close up in the next couple of days. New stuff in the platform. That's what we're going to talk about today. So let's kind of jump in there. If you haven't seen it already, Know Before has been released live in the platform. Do we have any Know Before partners on the call today? Okay, cool. So we'll take a couple seconds and just go into it. I can't show you the output from Know Before because I don't have a demo tenant from it. So we had to work with a couple of our partners to get this done. I will tell you, the Know Before content adds 3 new columns to the user report. Oh, Marnie's here just in time. Marnie, you missed it. I just promised everyone that you would buy them a beer at the next 2 events. So you're here just in time to live up to that. Actually, what I said was you would buy them just as many beers as I would have, and it's recorded.
Oh, that's an entirely different program.
Don't worry, I didn't promise that you would drink any. So the Know Before content adds 3 columns to the user list, and I want to talk about the user list because we're really starting to build a nice story in the user list, and we'll talk about 2 pieces of it today. The first is Know Before, and that is where we can see that this user exists not just in ConnectWise and Microsoft 365, but also in our security awareness training platform. So we now do Breach Secure Now and Know Before. When we get the new Q2 and 3 roadmaps published, Those should go out, I'm hoping, next week. You'll be able to see that we're also going to be looking to add things like ID agent and something else to that. So we'll be looking to add additional components here, but we're starting to tell the story of the user. And at the end of the day, cybersecurity is hard. User security is even harder, right? No matter how much cybersecurity we put in there, these guys are still clicking on stuff. So we need to be able to tell the story of, here's Bob in accounting. He won't let anybody put MFA on his phone. He clicked on 3 out of 4 malicious emails that went out last week. And he's got MFA disabled in his Office 365. Like he's not even set up with any security and protection. This is why you need all the other layers of our cybersecurity, as well as to go readjust Bob's attitude around how a lot of this works. So we're really working towards you being able to tell a story about a user that I think is a really compelling story on why people need to buy the rest of your cybersecurity stack and your cybersecurity suite. Do know that KnowBe4, while they do have a channel program, they are not channel specific or channel friendly, really. Each API key is generated at the customer level, and you have to do the KnowBe4 API integration for every customer.
Good. How are you? Oh, I thought this would leave. Hold on.
Oh, Andrew, I'm just going to mute you there real quick. Oh, never mind. He's going. Marnie's fast. All right. And so you do have to create each one of those APIs individually. And you do have to have a platinum or a diamond subscription. And I don't know what that means. So I'll leave that to you KnowBe4 guys to understand. But my guess is that is higher than plastic and somewhere below platinum, but I'm not really sure. Oh, platinum's in there. So yeah, I don't know.
Said that one.
It's above plastic. I don't know where gold fits in there. There's a bunch of stuff I don't know, but you got to have a fancy subscription to utilize that functionality. That one was released in the little bell in the upper right-hand corner of the platform. If you're not watching the bell, that's something you guys should check out when you log into the platform. The next couple of things we're going to talk about, I'm actually going to jump into the platform. So I'll show you where you should be looking. If you're not paying attention to the little bell up here, you should. If you see a little blue exclamation on it up here, that says my developers have been busy and they've given you cool new stuff. I have a special request out here from Matt from CNWR, and he's not even here but I've already harassed him about it in Slack. Matt complained to me at, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning or something one morning that he was setting up a recommendation for one of his customers, and he clicked into the recommendation and he typed out a whole bunch of stuff and he built this big fancy recommendation for his customer. And then he clicked over here on a button and it just took him to the next page and he lost all of his content. So just for Matt, although there are rumors that this has impacted some other folks, we've added 2 things. We added the speed bump that says, you have pending changes on the page. Are you sure you'd like to leave this page? I think this might be a problem we have other places in the platform that I haven't found. So if you guys see yourselves using the platform and you try and go from one page to the next and it lets you lose data, let us know. These aren't incredibly complicated things for our devs to add. And to some extent, it's just you guys spend more time in the platform than we do sometimes, and we just haven't found them all. So do let us know if you see a place where you need this. But this speed bump says, don't leave the page. You have important stuff to do. We've also added the changes detected up here. That's going to tell you with a little bit of red text that, hey, you've changed this page. Please don't click away. So we're trying desperately to protect you from yourselves. Mostly that is a Matt joke. So, but we're trying desperately to protect Matt from Matt's self and Tim from himself as well. So that is just a quiet little feature add that we don't really talk about a whole lot, but we're adding those throughout the system anywhere we can find them where they might have value to you. And does anybody know of any place else in the platform where that belongs? William's done it too. We'll protect William from himself. My kind of mentor in the MSP space was a guy who worked for the state of Delaware, and he was their chief technologist, which is like the highest non-management IT guy. And he used to say, never give a user a pointy stick, they'll poke out their eye. Never give a user a regular stick because they will sharpen the end and then poke out their eye. So that's what we're trying to protect you from. We're trying to take away all the sticks. The next thing I want to look at is actually in Report Builder. So we're just going to step through a couple. Yes, I know, I just talked about that. In Report Builder, we added some new functionality that to a report that not a lot of you guys maybe even use, but if you're using the tickets report, and the tickets report is down here somewhere. Nope, it's not even on my list. All right, so we'll go add the tickets report. Help desk tickets, if we add the tickets beta, this is going to let you guys see tickets from different service boards in your organization. At one point, this only let you pick a single board, which for some folks, I know if you've got ConnectWise carved out into 17 service boards, and half of them are ones that you would want your customer to see, but 3 of those you don't want your customer to see. You now have the ability to multi-select boards. Marnie, I do think I forgot to tell support. Oh, maybe all is working correctly now. No, it's not.
For me, like 5 minutes ago. So
What's that?
it doesn't deselect. If
All doesn't deselect. Yeah, they've got a bug on all here that they need to fix. I meant to send them that earlier today. I never did. But you can multi-select. Know that all is not deselecting, so deselect all before you remove another one until they get that particular issue fixed. I guess all my tickets are on my professional services board because that's the only one I create anything on. But oh, something's not right there, Marnie, with deselect. Deselect is broke. So know that this function is in here, and we're going to have them fix it and make it actually work. But Marnie, I got 7 tickets with that board. And then maybe it is working. Yeah, all those tickets are on the integration board. Okay, that is working. And we'll get the all function sorted out. But that got released in the platform the other night. I don't think that even got a
no,
actually it did. It got a minor update out here. So that one did get a minor update. There's a couple new ones today that did not get the minor update. Oh, Matt's one did not get a minor update. Forgive me, but I do tickets apply when using IT glue. So tickets only apply if you're using one of your if you've got a secondary integration. So if you're using, you may have a situation where IT glue is your primary source of truth. If you do, you have the option to integrate a PSA secondary, but that requires that you have Synchro, Halo, Autotask, or Manage. So it requires that you have one of those platforms. In that scenario, we'll get customers, contacts, and assets here. We'll get tickets and contracts down here. There may be a scenario where you don't have IT glue at all, and all 5 of these things get pulled from your PSA, and that's okay too.
I've got a bar graphs instead of a pie chart when I get in there. Is it because I'm using Synchro, or is there a setting where you can switch it from bar graphs?
That's a great question. I've never seen a bar graph. Marnie, do you know that answer?
What was the bar graph? Sorry.
That's in the tickets report?
Tickets. Yeah, in the tickets report. We use Synchro, so it's the ticket open close summary is a bar graph instead of a pie chart.
So I do know that Synchro's board is different, like the data that gets pulled over.
It looks good. Yes, it's not awful. I was just wondering why there was a difference between the two.
So I will ask.
Me
I do
too.
remember hearing that there was something different about it, but I like in my mind, since our demo site isn't hooked up to Synchro, I didn't internalize whatever it was. So let me do some research on that, and I'll send out an update on what that is.
No problem. That's just curious. Thanks.
No, that's fair. You learned me something too, so that's a win. All right, so we got another, and I think this one went out in the bell too. We have a situation where customer contacts show up in your lists. This is on a couple of different pages. We've got in recommendations, there's a section where you can say, hey, I'm going to need these human beings to get this recommendation done. Some of those might be your internal contacts. Some of those might be your client facing contacts. The problem is some of you guys have clients logging into your system, right? And when you have clients logging into your system, if you click over here on the contacts, you're going to see client names over here. Okay. Gives you the ability to accidentally select a client in both columns and make this look a little silly. We had some folks ask us to clean that up. When we did, we also cleaned it up down here on business reviews, because you can also choose who the person is that attends to a business review. So if it's happening to you, we'll get it fixed. You can now come out here and click modify, and you'll see we have those same kind of lists over here. So if I've got somebody who I know is a client who's showing up over here in my attendees list, we now have the ability for you guys to manage that. And I want to talk to about a couple different ways that we can kind of manage that, because there's more than one way to get those users out of there. So first off, we have removing client users. That was pretty specific, where you can come in and mark an individual user as an external user. So I go into my user list, I go find that user, right? And I just say, this person is an external user. They don't really belong to my company. That's not where I sync them. Sorry, wrong window. In this particular case, we go to account settings, we go to user manager, and we would pick this user from here and mark them as not part of our company. So if we were to go grab this person, we could say this person is external. They don't belong in our company. Now they no longer show up in either one of those our contacts lists. So that one's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Now, if I go back there, you'll see this non-admin account from recommendations, and no longer have the ability to add that user over here. That version of Nick is gone, which it really should be. I've got too many versions of Nick. Let's go disable somebody else. We're going to go disable demo CS user. Kurt's demo CS user is going to go away. All right, let's go just nail that one real quick, just to make sure this is all working as expected. I feel like they've been through the ringer on it, but let's go tweak it and make sure. So Kurt's demo CS, there we go. This guy is now internal, update user. And now if I go to my recommendations, that user is gone. Can you bulk make contacts users as external? No. No, you cannot. I wonder what happens if you create one though. I don't think we explore that in the documentation, but when I add a new user, you can do it. You can add a user as external when you create them for the new ones going forward, but there is no bulk select to make those external users. So if you've got a ton of users somewhere logging in, you're going to have a couple extra clicks. Questions about that? So the next thing I want to talk about with users is kind of cleaning up and making your user list manageable. I've been working with a lot of partners over the last few weeks, just kind of getting the user list dialed in, and everybody has their own problem with them. So a couple of weird things happen. If your users show up here, and go check your favorite clients while we're sitting here looking at this. We're not moving that fast. We'll give everybody time to check a couple of clients. Make sure that all your users here show up as you expect them. First name, a last name, an email address. If you see a bunch of what looks like hieroglyphics, random characters, hidden identities, then there's something that you need to do here. And you need to come in here and look for the Microsoft 365. I think they call it a configuration change. So 365 change, should find it. Yep. Microsoft 365 configuration change. I see a number of MSPs still. But you're learning Latin. Yeah. And so I see a lot of MSPs where this is happening, that this is happening to. And in some cases, it's because it's a new customer that somebody long ago went and fixed all their old customers. And now an account manager's got a new customer and they come to me and go, oh my God, this customer's broke. I don't understand what happened. I've had 2 of those in the last week. So I just want you guys to realize, if you see something here that doesn't look like the users you were expecting to see, the help desk article I just put out there, the 365 change article will fix that problem. It's simply a checkbox you have to uncheck in the Microsoft tenant. The screenshot right here shows it. You literally have to uncheck this checkbox in the Microsoft tenant. So if any of your customers look weird, that's the problem.
Well, the other place it's happening is sometimes if like a line guard is feeding data someplace else, because we're all pulling from the same API.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. So LionGuard can feed that de-identified data too.
If Lions Guard somehow feeds that data to manage, and we're pulling from manage, right? You might be like, I changed this in,
Oh wow, I hadn't seen that.
Not a Lifecycle Insights thing. It's a Microsoft API thing. So anybody that's pulling your users,
this is going to see it that way. Got it. Yeah, that's going to make a mess. Okay. So then the other use case comes up, which is, let's say I have a user who doesn't have a Microsoft 365 account. And for some reason, they're just not even really a real user, and I just want to hide them. We do have functionality now that if you wanted to just hide a user that doesn't exist, you could hide a user in reporting. This is the ability for you basically to take somebody and just make them vanish from reporting. The beauty of this is sometimes you've got a shared mailbox, a user group, or something else that's showing up here. It doesn't necessarily exist. The customer's not getting billed for it, but you have to answer questions over and over about who they are and why they exist. Sometimes you have vendors and guests that have been given access to your Microsoft tenant. If you know who they are, they're expected, you've approved them, you can go hide some of those and eliminate them and make them go away for your customer. So hide user and reporting is something that we don't talk about a whole lot. It is really probably the second method for making them disappear. The first method for making them disappear is another one that nobody really thinks about and we don't talk about enough. If you go to integrations and select your primary integration where all of your users actually come from, we actually have a contact type exclusion. This is really, really useful if you're using contact types in ConnectWise and Autotask and IT Glue. I'm not sure they exist in Halo and Synchro, but they might. If you're using contact types and you have a contact type for vendor account, where you're tracking a vendor's VPN account into your system, it's only an AD account or it's something that is never going to receive email and you don't want to show it to your customer along with, hey, this person doesn't log in often enough, that one's a problem. Or maybe you've got an account that's scans at customerdomain.com and it's assigned to the Canon copier. And that's really all it does and you don't need to show it. A lot of folks have just distribution groups and shared mailboxes that are showing up out here that make a mess. One of the things you can do here is uncheck an entire type of account and hide that entire thing. So here we've got, some sort of an import that we did. We can hide all of those in mass by utilizing this particular section. So keep in mind that exists. It wouldn't hurt everyone to make sure that you've been through all the tabs in your primary integration. You can hide entire asset statuses. So most folks should only be importing active, but some folks are importing a bunch of weird statuses. Some folks have not finished up their asset mapping. Your screen will have more data than mine, but they've got a ton of things landing in other as far as the asset class goes, which makes sure your asset list not properly associate the right replacement value for those assets that are other, but really should be a workstation or a virtual server or something else. So just give some thought to those as far as making sure that we've excluded the users and the asset types and things that we don't want to see. Any questions about that? We'll have to wait until he isn't recording to give details here. Oh, oh goodness. And then so we've gotten through these really quickly. There haven't been a lot of questions, so we're going to end really early today, but that's okay. Before we do though, we're going to unbutton an issue where I misinformed you last week that I was uneducated or improperly educated on the Microsoft MFA stuff. We talked about this last week. We talked about the difference between enabled, disabled, and enforced. Then we were corrected by our developers who said, oh, no, we got it right. The Microsoft graph is what's wrong. And so we need to very clearly explain this to everyone. And when I had them come back and add this information dot so that when you're staring at this, wondering why no one says enforced, you can explain this to re-explain this to yourself. The 365 graph API only returns a yes, no value for MFA status. So enabled and enforced most likely come back the same way. You guys might want to play with that and see exactly what you see. The other thing that I came across this week was a customer who almost all of their customers showed enabled or disabled or showed a status here. And then they went to one customer and they went, why doesn't this guy have anything here? These entire two columns were blank. If these two columns are blank, it's probably because the client does not have the right license level. So if you look back at this, they must have a 365 Business Premium, Azure ADP 1 or higher license. And they only have to have one. It doesn't have to be on every user, but they have to have one to be of the tier in Microsoft to be deemed worthy of getting this information. Yeah, Microsoft licensing, unclear, go figure. It's only been that way since about Windows NT and client access licenses. But yeah, Microsoft has got some goofy license requirements on this. So we came back and added a little information dot. We're going to work to add some of these throughout the platform where things are unclear to try to make sure that we explain these to you guys, because we understand we're pulling data from a lot of different systems. Every system has its own requirements. Every system has its own nuances and complexities, and we don't want to confuse everybody. sometimes it's just me who's confused. In this particular case, it was just me who was confused. So a partner talked me into something that wasn't real. And I bought it hook, line, and sinker until my devs straightened me out. So there it is. We've added some correction at the 47th page of the newspaper today, because we never put those on the cover page. I thought about doing that one first, but in reality, I wanted to bury it in the back. With that, that's everything I had to cover. Marnie, did you have anything specific you wanted to go over with folks today, or
No, it's
good,
been a
we're
week.
gonna cut them loose early. I'm good with
Yeah,
that. It is a
yeah.